And I'm Anita Heath.
And we are
Chelsea-Michelle.
And you can get our free prequel novella in the description below. But we're not talking about this today. It's just, we talk a bunch of cozy mysteries. So we're starting something new today, and I'll let you...
Okay. Yeah, so we are going to start a new segment called Mysteries We Sample. All right. And obviously the title comes from our title, right? Hours We Regret, which you still need to go read. So Mysteries We Sample, what we're going to be doing is we're sampling mystery brands. And we're kicking the segment off with the beloved, absolute favorite classic, Scooby Doo.
Which I just watched for the first time about a half hour ago.
Yeah, first time. Okay, so we're going to do this in two different parts. The first part is going to be taste testing, and we're going to talk about the brand as a whole. Just what you can expect, what our thoughts are, our opinions, and then we'll come back for part two, where we will share the exact episode that we watched. Actually, you'll find the episode in the end of this video, so be sure to pay attention to that. And you can watch it with us, and then we'll talk like kind of scene by scene, really, just a fun commentary. So, all right, so taste testing first. I think we'll start off and talk about the brand itself. There's a lot of Scooby out there, and not everything's created equally. There's definitely a lot of controversy about some of the newest versions of Scooby. We're not going to talk about that. I prefer the classic original stuff. But there are a lot of different stuff out there. And so as we've talked to different people, there's a lot of people who didn't watch Scooby, probably for a variety of reasons. But one of them, being in a Christian circle, one of those reasons would be any of the mysticism behind the show. And so what I definitely want to kind of debunk is that probably 80% of it is not at all mystic. Like it is some sort of crime. You've got your bad guy, and he is using this legend of a ghost in a costume to disguise illegal activity. Like, that's 80% of the time that's what's going on. There are some versions, some different series that they've come out with that do more of the actual ghost and things like that. There are some out there, but if you're starting off with the classic, say, what is it called? Where Are You? Scooby Doo, Where Are You? That would be the original, starting from 1969.
It's very much a 69 innovation.
It is a product of its time, and it's absolutely darling. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. Another favorite would be the movies. Let's see, exactly, it is called the new Scooby Doo movies. You'll find this. It's right now called the Almost Complete Collection, and it's because they're purposely missing the episode with the Addams Family. It was a copyright issue. But in this, these are actually an hour long, and they meet people, and so it's kind of cool. Some of them, they're characters like Batman and Robin, and some of them, they're real people like Sonny and Cher, Don Knotts. And so they meet these people in the episodes, and they're fun. They're really cool. And so those are the real people voicing their characters and stuff in that. Those are two great ones to start off with. You'll find like 1,000 more. But all right, so going back to what we watched, we actually watched the episode, was it Jeepers, It's the Creeper, I believe was the exact title. So we'll talk about that in part two. Be sure to watch it if you want to talk with us. But what was your impression as a newbie
So yeah, it definitely has very traditional hallmark of cartoons in that era, as in just like the over exaggeration of everything.
Yeah, like running in place.
Exactly. But the characters are all distinctly differently. And they all have their different, like, Shaggy likes to say and I don't know all their names. I didn't catch all their names. The other guy? Freddie is very, like, steady, in control, like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then Velma is like the little nerdy girl.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one's kind of more, what's her name?
Daphne. Yeah.
She's kind of more like the prissy,
She was my favorite.
Yeah. And that makes sense, because I'm like, oh, I like Velma,
Yeah, no,
like
Velma was never a favorite of mine, but
yeah,
she was
so
necessary.
they have like they're very distinct personalities in there, and the music's very much for the era.
Yeah. It's so stinking cute. Like, it really is. I love the way that they talk. Like, this isn't even trying to be 70s. Like, this is
No,
it.
yeah,
This is it. The music, everything they're doing.
Their voices are really cute. Like, they're really cute.
They are. And if you're not familiar, we were talking Casey Kasem. We'll talk more about him later because she didn't know who he was. But if you grew up around the radio, you would know Casey Kasem. Saved by the Bell, Casey Kasem's in there. Anyways, he's a favorite of mine. He's an iconic all of his own. Anyways, he voices Shaggy, so it's fun to have that kind of familiar touches there. The clothing's so cute. Again, just very much a product of its era. You know, they're wearing bell bottoms, and it's adorable. It really is. Let's see, what else do we talk about? The brand.
The structure of the mysteries would be one.
Okay, go for it.
So they are predictable. They are something that you could sit there like, oh, I think so. And you know, I didn't actually predict whenever we watched it, but it's like you could figure it out. At least for this one. I don't know if they're all that way.
They're not very complex. Like, you don't have a lot of suspects. You might have 2, maybe 3 at the most. Like, you don't see a lot of people. And so, as an adult watching it, it doesn't give you a whole lot to kind of go on. Like, you definitely would be watching it just for the nostalgia. And just, it is very much its own distinct brand.
And for the humor. They have some really really funny little turns of phrases and stuff.
Yeah. And Shaggy's really good for that. You know, Scooby, he's a dog, but he's almost person-like. And so he talks, but he talks in the dog. Yeah, it's fun. What else?
That's what I noticed. She knows all this because, like I said, I just watched my first one. Like, this is something we were not allowed to watch. And like watching this one, the Jeepers It's the Creepers, it was like a Frankenstein scary type of character. Like, okay, yeah. So we didn't do scary movies growing up. So that probably, things like that were probably why. But it really is not scary. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, as an adult, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Definitely as an adult.
Scary. But, you know, as a child, I was never scared by it.
Right, but you watched more scary stuff than we did. So, like, we had more sheltered of what we watched. So, yeah, I could see for some kids.
Yeah, I think it depends. I know, like, everybody freaks out about the Wizard of Oz and the monkeys. I was never afraid of the monkeys.
Oh, yeah, we were scared of the
never
monkeys.
afraid of the monkeys. But I think it was just the world was so not real. Like, I was afraid of Chucky. Terrified of the you know, like, but it looked real. Like, the whole setting and everything looked real. Scooby Doo, like, none of this looks real. I'm not afraid of. You know, like, I think that was kind of why I wasn't afraid. But other kids are. So if you're considering introducing your kids to that, maybe you haven't. I don't know. I guess it depends on what they're afraid of. But as an adult, you have no reason to be afraid.
No.
And it is charming. So, would you watch any more?
Yeah, I think I would. They're funny enough, and they're short enough to where it's not like I'm sitting through an hour, you know.
Oh, an hour's okay. 2 hours, 5, 6, the whole DVD, you know, like, just keep rolling. No, they're cute. I do. I love them. But I grew up watching them, and it is, you know, they're their own people.
Yeah,
like, it's a character based.
I can see where it's a very classic. Like, it totally just is its own thing. Yeah.
It is very much a wash and reuse type thing, and that's important too. So the stories don't build off of each other. It is fresh and new, all standalone. It's fun. So, all right, well, that I think is all that we need to discuss in the taste testing.
Have you watched Scooby Doo? If so, what are your favorite episodes? Which ones do you think I should watch?
Yeah. All of them. Go ahead and tell her.
I don't have time to watch all of them.
She does. She's good.
Anyway, so let us know your thoughts on Scooby Doo. If you've seen this one, or if you haven't seen Jeepers It's the Creeper, however it goes.
Yeah.
Watch that one because next week or two we'll be posting
part two, and we're gonna discuss the actual episode.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. Bye, y'all.